By Wardah Khalid. She's a Middle East policy analyst and media associate for Church World Services Immigration and Refugee Program. You and I spoke back before the election in November, and you had many concerns about candidate Trump. And of course, one of them was this call for a Muslim ban that happened after the San Bernardino shooting. Give me your thoughts as you hear that his actions tomorrow, and do you see that as a step in that direction?
Absolutely. These executive orders that we've been seeing today, yesterday, which were rumored to come out tomorrow, they're absolutely a completion of this nightmare that we had. It's coming to fruition. So I was actually just in front of the White House at a rally where immigrants, refugees, undocumented people, Muslims were all there together, talking about how they were feeling and how much work was needed to overcome this, because everything that we were afraid of with Donald Trump is now coming true, and it's taking the country in a wrong direction.
I watched one story this weekend where it showed the actual route of the motorcade to the CIA headquarters and the massive protests that undoubtedly the new president saw. Not just protests here in the United States, around the world, many people coming out denouncing his policies even before he was able to enact them. It doesn't appear to have given him pause. I guess that message didn't get through.
Well, the message has to get through. I mean, because people are not going to give up. They're going to keep going for this. I mean, if you just look at, for instance, what he's doing with refugees and banning them, I had refugee women leaders marching with me at the Women's March on Saturday, and some of them are still waiting to be reunited with their families. And, you know, if you do a ban like this, you know they're going to keep fighting, and people who believe in the rights of refugee resettlement in this country, which are numerous. I mean, this was the most unprecedented, largest march in U.S. history, and you're right, it was around the world as well. So people are very fired up, they're ready to go, and they're ready to keep pushing back and working with members of Congress and their local policymakers to make it happen.
A lot of people during the campaign said, well, don't take him seriously. He's just saying these sorts of things. So I think we sort of need to take him seriously now. Some of the things he said during the campaign in favor of surveillance against mosques, also wants to open up a database for Muslims living in the United States. As you look at this step and you think about some of the other things said, how chilling is it?
It's extremely chilling. As a member of a minority community, as a Muslim American, I'm very concerned when he's talking about things like surveillance of mosques or registering Muslims. This is unconstitutional, point blank. And to see a president espouse ideas that discriminate and marginalize a community, whether it be Muslims, whether it be Latinos, whether it be African Americans, is very concerning, because an American president, any president, is supposed to be the president for all of his people, not just one community or one community that looks like him. You know, he lost the popular vote. I mean, that is a fact. Which means that there are a lot of people out there that don't agree with his policies, and he needs to extend an arm to them, and he needs to represent them as well. And marginalizing populations by banning them, by surveilling them, this is not a way to lead a country and represent all of your people. After
the attacks of 9/11, then President Bush went to great pains to make a distinction, saying, quote, "The faith of terror is not the true faith of Islam. Islam is peace. The terrorists are traitors to their own faith, trying in effect to hijack Islam itself." Calming words. Are you concerned at all about Islamophobia and the effects of these kind of statements, actions, and what the ripple effect is through the United States?
I'm extremely concerned about Islamophobia. We already saw the effects of Islamophobia during the campaign. Anti-Muslim attacks reached their highest levels since 9/11. During the presidential campaign. And that was a direct result of statements by people like Donald Trump and other people who were running and saying things to vilify Muslims, to marginalize them, and to use them as a way to increase votes. So I'm extremely concerned that he's saying these things, and what could happen. People are emboldened by his statements, and he paints a picture that Islam and the West are incompatible, which is completely different from what President Bush was saying. And this feeds into the hands of exactly what ISIS is saying, that Islam is not compatible with the West, and therefore we have to go to war. So it's not only dangerous for Muslim Americans, it's dangerous for the country.
Well, thanks so much for coming in. I suspect it's not going to be the last time we talk to you about these issues.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you again.